They say it's just aging, just part of getting old. But what if waking up at 4 a.m. every single day wasn't just your body being tired, but your brain following a deeper, hidden code? Science has discovered that older adults don't just sleep less. Their biological clock, their very perception of night and day, begins to shift, almost like time itself is pulling them into a different rhythm. Why does this happen? Is it a flaw in the aging brain, or something far more intentional? New research shows that the same mechanisms controlling your sleep are linked to memory, immunity, even lifespan. And if you wake up early, it could be your body warning you about something deeper, something we were never supposed to ignore. Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. For most of our lives, we're told that sleep is simple 8 hours a night, every night. Go to bed late, wake up late. That's the rhythm most of us followed for decades, until something changed. As we get older, somewhere around our 60s or 70s, sleep starts behaving differently. You fall asleep earlier than before, and wake up long before the sun. Not just once, but almost every day at exactly the same time. Some people call it aging sleep, others joke it's just part of being old. But behind this quiet shift lies one of the strangest, most misunderstood changes happening in the human body. Today's science sees sleep as more than rest. It's a complex biological system controlled by an internal clock buried deep in the brain, the suprachiasmatic nucleus. This tiny bundle of neurons, no bigger than a grain of rice, acts like a conductor, timing the release of hormones, regulating body temperature, and telling every cell when to work and when to rest. In younger years, this clock aligns with the sun almost perfectly, but as we age, the signals begin to drift. The clock starts ticking faster, or sometimes too slow. Our body loses its balance with time itself. And that misalignment? It affects more than just your sleep. Scientists are now connecting it to memory loss, heart problems, even early signs of cognitive decline. So why does this shift happen? What's causing the brain to rewrite its own schedule, and what does that mean for the rest of our health? To understand that, we have to go deeper, much deeper. The story of early waking didn't begin in sleep labs. It began in quiet confusion. For decades, doctors simply assumed that older adults just needed less sleep. It was a polite explanation, easy, harmless, and completely wrong. In the 1980s, a few curious researchers started to notice a pattern. Healthy seniors, with no signs of insomnia, were waking up far earlier than expected, sometimes as early as 3 or 4 a.m. But when monitored in controlled environments, something shocking was revealed. Their internal clocks weren't broken, they were shifted. It was as if their brains believed the day started sooner than it really did. The turning point came when scientists began isolating the genes responsible for circadian rhythms. One discovery, the PER1 and PER2 genes, showed that mutations in these clock genes could cause a person to rise and fall asleep hours earlier than others. What's more disturbing, these changes often intensified with age. And that wasn't all. Brain scans revealed that the master clock, the SCN, was shrinking, literally losing volume in older adults. It meant the very mechanism meant to synchronize the body with the outside world was fading, no longer keeping time as it once did. And when the body's timekeeper falters, everything else follows. Hormones get released too early. Digestion, immune response, even cognition, all begin slipping out of sync. And that is when the real danger begins. Not just sleeplessness, but a body slowly falling out of rhythm with the world around it. And once that rhythm is gone, it's incredibly hard to get it back. It's not just about waking up early. It's about why your body is doing it and what it means. According to the National Institute on Aging, nearly 70% of adults over 65 report disturbances in their sleep. But this isn't just about tossing and turning. Many of them wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., even after going to bed at a reasonable time, and can't fall back asleep. That's not coincidence, it's biology. Studies show that melatonin production, the hormone that tells your brain it's time to sleep, drops sharply after age 60. Not gradually, but like a light fading too fast. The body no longer gets a clear, nighttime signal, and the result? A distorted sleep cycle. But here's where it gets more alarming. Sleep isn't just rest. During deep sleep, the brain flushes out toxic proteins, including beta amyloid, the same substance linked to Alzheimer's disease. Less sleep, means more accumulation, more risk. And as circadian rhythms weaken, the body starts misfiring. Blood pressure spikes at the wrong time, cortisol, the stress hormone, stays elevated, and even the immune system begins confusing day with night. In one study, adults with disrupted circadian clocks were twice as likely to develop heart issues and 3 times as likely to experience memory decline. This isn't science fiction. It's happening now, in homes just like yours. Early waking may feel harmless, but behind it may be a silent unraveling. A clock winding down, cell by cell, night by night, while the world still sleeps. Here's the part no one tells you. Early waking in older adults isn't always a problem. In fact, some scientists now believe it might be an ancient survival mechanism, a built-in system buried deep in our evolutionary past, designed to keep the tribe safe. Think about it. In pre-modern times, when humans lived in vulnerable, open environments, it was the elders who began waking before dawn, scanning the horizon, listening for danger. This wasn't weakness, it was vigilance. A natural division of timekeeping, where younger adults slept deeply, while older ones, lighter sleepers, kept watch. And here's the twist. Our brains might still carry that pattern. Recent studies in chronobiology suggest that as we age, our circadian rhythm phase advances, meaning our internal day starts earlier, regardless of actual sunlight. But that shift isn't random. It follows a biological program influenced by both genetics and ancient neural circuitry. Some researchers have even called it the Sentinel hypothesis. But here's where it gets complicated. In modern life, we no longer live in tribes, yet the brain still sends those early warning signals. The result? You wake up early, not because you're anxious or sick, but because your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Only now, there's no threat to watch for. Just the quiet ticking of a system built for a world that no longer exists. So the real question is, if your brain still thinks you need to protect someone, what else is it doing that we haven't yet discovered? Today, we're finally starting to understand the aging brain, not through guesswork, but through powerful technology. One of the biggest breakthroughs? Real-time brain imaging. Using fMRI scans, scientists can now watch how the internal clock, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, behaves inside living humans. And what they've found is astonishing. In older adults, this clock shows signs of weakening connections, like a radio losing signal. It still ticks, but it doesn't communicate clearly with the rest of the body. That's why researchers at Harvard and Stanford are developing precision light therapies, using carefully timed doses of blue light to reset the circadian clock. And in some trials, it's working. People who spent just 30 minutes each morning under controlled lighting saw improvements in sleep duration, alertness, even memory. Meanwhile, wearable sleep trackers and smart mattresses are giving researchers more data than ever before, revealing how temperature, heart rate, and even micro-movements relate to circadian stability. But perhaps the most surprising discovery? The gut. Yes, your gut has its own clock. And new research shows that disruptions in sleep may throw off the timing of your gut bacteria, leading to inflammation, poor digestion, even metabolic disorders. That's why scientists are now exploring chrononutrition, eating in sync with your body's internal time, as a tool to restore rhythm from the inside out. So no, you're not just waking up early. You're living inside one of the most complex, delicate time systems on Earth, and now, for the first time, we have the tools to listen to what it's telling us. For every discovery, there is a cost. And as scientists dig deeper into the mysteries of early waking and aging sleep, a quiet debate has started to rise, one that challenges everything we thought we knew. On one side, there is hope, a belief that with enough data, enough precision, we can reprogram the aging body, control the clock, delay decline. But not everyone agrees. Some researchers warn that manipulating sleep rhythms, even gently, could disrupt more than we realize. Sleep is not just rest, it's repair. And when we artificially shift it, we might be waking the body before it's ready. One theory, still debated, suggests that early waking may not be a flaw, but a final stage of the body's natural life cycle. A phase of deep biological reorganization, where the body slowly detaches from the 24-hour rhythm as a way of preparing for something larger. And that's not just poetic. Animal studies show that in the final months of life, circadian rhythms often shift dramatically, almost as if the body knows what's coming. Could that be happening in humans too? Or are we simply pushing ourselves too far, surrounded by artificial light, overexposed to screens, overstimulated by 24/7 life? Some scientists argue that the modern world has forced our inner clocks into chaos, and that early waking is not natural at all, but a silent cry for help. So which is it? Evolution or erosion? Progress or warning? One thing is certain, we've crossed a line, and now nature is trying to speak. The question is, are we listening? The truth is, this isn't just about sleep. It's about control, of time, of aging, of biology itself. As we uncover more about how our internal clocks change with age, we're not just observing nature, we're trying to rewrite it. And that comes with consequences. Already, tech companies are investing billions into circadian enhancement therapies, light systems, brain stimulation devices, even gene editing, all designed to push the body's clock into alignment. But what happens when only a portion of the population can afford that kind of biological correction? What happens when the wealthy can stay synchronized, while the rest of us drift further out of rhythm? We're seeing it now, rising rates of insomnia, cognitive disorders, and depression in older adults. People blame themselves for waking up too early, not realizing their biology was under attack by modern life. Cities never go dark, screens never turn off, and the natural cues our brains need to stay in sync, they're fading. But the real crisis lies ahead. If our internal clocks continue to destabilize across generations, we may be witnessing a slow shift in human evolution itself. Scientists have already noticed signs of chronotype separation, a growing divide between those whose bodies run early and those who run late. Two biological rhythms, living in one species, drifting apart. The fear? That one group will adapt faster, become stronger, more alert, and leave the other behind. Not because of technology, but because of time. And when that happens, who decides what's normal anymore? So now we face a choice. For the first time in human history, we hold the tools to interfere with time, not just clocks on the wall, but the internal clocks ticking inside every one of us. We've learned how they age, how they drift, how they slowly pull us away from the rhythm of the world. And we've also learned how to fight back. But the question is, should we? If early waking is part of a natural design, a final chapter in the body's symphony, then forcing it back into balance may come at a price. We might regain sleep, but lose something deeper, a wisdom in the silence, a purpose we no longer understand. On the other hand, if this shift is the result of environmental disruption, noise, light, stress, then perhaps the real answer is not inside a pill or device, but in how we live. Slower, simpler, more in sync with nature and less with machines. This is the dilemma of our age. Evolve through technology or reconnect through simplicity. Each path carries risk. Each demands sacrifice. But one thing is clear, we can't ignore the clock anymore. Whether it's whispering the truth of aging or the warning of imbalance, it's speaking. And it's asking us to decide, do we master time or learn to move with it? Maybe waking up at 4 a.m. isn't a glitch. Maybe it's a message from your own body, from the deeper systems you can't see, but have always trusted. Remember how we started? That early rise, that quiet moment when you open your eyes and the world is still asleep? What if that moment wasn't meaningless? What if it's your biology trying to tell you something before it's too late? Because here's what we know now. Early waking is not just about aging. It's about rhythm, decline, and survival. It's about time running differently inside you than outside. And if you're experiencing it, you're not alone. You're part of something bigger, a shift that's happening all around us, faster than we can fully explain. Some will use technology to fight it. Others will listen and adapt. But most people will just ignore it. Tell me honestly, when you woke up this morning, before sunrise, did you feel calm? Or did something inside you whisper that something isn't right? Now that you know what might be happening, will you pretend it's nothing? Or will you finally ask, why now? Why me? I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what time do you wake up? And more importantly, what do you feel in those first silent minutes when no one else is watching?